What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about LTCN and BCHG today. Looking for my list here, handy dandy list. I'm going to start off with LTCN. We're going to talk about LTCN, BCHG, and where am I? ETHE as well. Yes, things are looking really good, you guys, in crypto right now. Things are looking really good. We're seeing things move up. I do want to go over LTC, BCH. I might go over ETH as well with the underlying assets, But as far as I'm concerned on LTCN, still lower highs, nothing to confirm that we're going higher yet. Lower prices are very much still on the table. This move, while it is an engulfing candle, a bullish engulfing candle, it did not come with a lot of volume. To be fair, it's more volume than we've seen in the past 5 days, but it's not a whole lot of volume, so I'm not totally convinced yet. Until we close above, let's see here. Until we close above 1710, I'm not completely convinced that we're ready to move higher yet. So that would be a higher high than this even. But, I mean, who knows? Who really knows how it goes? But here we are below the 618 right now, touching it potentially for resistance. If we open up tomorrow red, we start moving down, get below that 0.5, it would look really good for furthering the price down. And I think it would honestly... Right now it's hard to say, but it would put the 672 to 522 targets at a likelihood. Again, that's what we're looking for, right? We've got the rejection off the 618. Moving down after that would be a pretty solid look, especially once we close below the 382. That'd be a pretty solid look for moving down to the 1272, the 1618 extensions, which are again at 672 and 522. Now, if we look at LTC did have a nice move yesterday, and it's having a nice move today. Yesterday was above average volume, but it still wasn't super crazy volume. It wasn't that intense at all. Pretty decent day, but today's a lot bigger. Already have a lot of volume, more than half of the volume from yesterday. So this day could close with higher volume. We absolutely could move higher. There's a lot of things that would kind of have to happen before I start to get bullish on the LTC chart. While yes, it looks bullish now, we absolutely could reverse from here. We've been finding these slightly lower highs all along the way, and that's exactly what this is here, right? If we put a line right at our last high, that is a slightly lower high. So I'm not too convinced just yet. We are finding resistance at this 382 time and time again. This could be another time. I very much am still expecting that prices go lower, but will they go to that 55 to 45 area, specifically around $50 that I was looking for over the past couple weeks? Maybe not. It might not. It is possible. It is possible that we move up higher from here. This could be a consolidation phase, and then we break out to the upside. But I still think this kind of looks like it wants to go lower. We might go a little bit lower, back down to these lower areas, and then find support there. Weekly RSI doesn't look too bad, but still relatively neutral. Daily RSI is getting overbought, which is a good thing, but let's see how it does. Let's see how it does throughout the rest of the week. Let's see how it does today. If you can close a day above here, above about 76.51, I'll be convinced that you can go higher. At that point, I'll relinquish any lower prices on the table. But that's the requirement in my opinion. 76.51, close above there, and then I think LTC is going up. And at that case, I would think LTCN would go up as well. But for now, I'm assuming lower on both until proven otherwise. The daily RSI does look a bit constructive, a little bit nice on LTCN. It wasn't, and now it is, just because of yesterday. But let's see how it goes, man. It really could reject from here and turn around. I still very much am expecting prices to go below $8, but we'll see. I could be wrong. Been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. That's why, again, guys, touching on this, it's so important to DCA. It's so important to, even if you think prices are going lower, to have skin in the game, right? And I learned this from a friend of mine who's he's been in crypto about as long as I have. I think a little bit less time, but he's been doing a lot better than I have. That's for sure, and that's because he doesn't play the game. He doesn't play the game, and I learned to not play the game from him, man. Because even if you're up here, let's say this, right? You're up here, and you think the price is going to go all the way down to $5, $6, $7, whatever, right? It's going to go down there. Even $8, because we didn't technically hit $8, did we? And the price does something like this. You're going to feel very smart for selling up here, right? But then if the price does this, and now you're up here, you're not going to feel as smart, right? So that's why it's really important, even if you think the price is going lower, do not commit yourself to zero exposure. Do not sell all of your things. This would have been a good time to buy. We had a 30% drop, 35% drop in 1 week's time. Not a bad area to DCA at all. I wouldn't have DCA'd really throughout all of these, but it might be a good time to DCA now even, even going up. That's what DCAing means. You buy even if it's up, even if it's down, no matter what, you buy regularly, whether it's once a week, once a month, twice a month, however likely you want it to be, however much of an amount you want it to be. It's better to have some exposure than no exposure because we know where this thing's going. Even at 1365, I say we know, but we believe that we're going to see new all-time highs in this thing's chart. At least I do. So with that, like, it's not a bad thing to have exposure even at these levels. But I kind of am expecting still that we see a price drop that could be anything from like 50% or more from here. But we'll see. That remains to be seen. Let's see how the week closes out. Let's see how tomorrow goes for LTC, especially this week, because there are a couple of things that need to take place with LTC for me to change my mind, but we're close to fulfilling those. But I remain skeptical. I remain cautiously bearish, I would say. I'm not bullish yet, but that can change. That can easily change for sure. Let's move on to BCHG now on the Grayscale Trust Bitcoin Cash here. Also lower highs. You seem to be doing this where you tip the highs very quickly and you hug the lows. In my experience, generally speaking, not always, definitely not always, but whenever you tip an area, you tend to reject that area. When you hug the area, you tend to break through that area. That's like what happens, right? And this is kind of a good example of that, right? You're hugging these high points here, and it's kind of boring throughout all of it, but as you're moving down, look, like that was a tip, 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 right? You don't really have any high tips like that. Here's your high tip, your first one in a while, right? And that sent you down, just as kind of an example. If that makes sense, if you can see what I'm seeing, right? Here, you're kind of like grinding the high point here. You did tip it here, sure, but then you're grinding it here as well after having like, that's kind of a grind of a low, but a bounce off the low, a bounce off the low. It's no surprise that you went a little bit higher, if that makes any sense. I don't know. There's times where it doesn't work out. Tipping the highs, again, grinding the lows, you moved lower, but that's just more of the same that I'm talking about. There are times where it doesn't work out like that. Here it's kind of harder to tell. Tip the low, tip the high, tip the low, tip the high, tiptoe, tiptoe. Same thing here. It's not always 100%, but I guess here in this consolidation phase, you can kind of say tipped the low, grinded this high, you're going to move up. But again, that's something to put in the back pocket of your technical analysis arsenal to like identify a chart just with your eyes without using tools or anything like that. It's not a 100% guarantee. Absolutely, it's not. But generally, it's a good rule of thumb that I've noticed. And you do have this where it looks like you're grinding the lows more than you are the highs. So I would think you go lower. The prices that I'm expecting for BCHG are below $2, around that $1.80, $1.78 area. So I do expect that you'll see this 382, this 123 weekly moving average be hit at least at a minimum, at a bare like minimum expectation. I think you'd go below this low and see prices around 270, 265, something like that. But based off of previous areas of resistance and your 236 being there, but lower nonetheless is what I'm waiting for, unless BCH continues to do some bullish things. Which right now, looking at BCH, I think it's above 300. We're at 302. BCH has been anything but, what's the word I'm looking for? The word that comes to mind is loyal. It's done anything but pick a side is what I'm trying to say. It goes up. Every time it goes up, we get a new higher. Like, look, we're going to go over it right now. Okay, you ready? I'm going to go over it right now. Ever since we started consolidating here. You get your low daily close here. Okay, cool. Let's see. This is a weekly, not a daily. You get your higher daily close, you move down. You get your higher daily close, you move down. You get your lower daily close, you move up. You get your I guess that's not a higher daily close, but you move down. Lower daily closes, then you moved up again. We just had our higher daily close. Same thing here. Higher daily closes, move down. Higher daily closes, move down. Higher daily closes, moved down. And then here, these are all higher lows coming in, low here, that's a higher low, that's a higher low. But this low was a lower closing low than here. And that's when you turned up. That's when you went up, if any of that makes sense. So here we are getting our higher high on the closing basis. Could we come down? Could we even go below these prices and still continue to move up? Sure, we could. BCH, again, is anything but like honest with us, man. It likes to get our hearts tugged in one direction and then give it back. Look at the day that we're having with the lack of volume. I say lack of volume. The day's still young. There could be a lot of volume to follow through, but sometimes with a big day like this in the beginning, that volume does follow through, but on a selling basis. So just be aware of that. We are at a previous area of resistance right now, right? Pretty damn close to it. I wonder right here on this low to high. Are we at the 50? Kind of close to that 50. That's an area that I would expect to find resistance on too. It wouldn't be crazy if we pulled back at all. You know, we really could pull all the way back below 240 even from here. And here we are at 303. So I would think, just like Litecoin, dependent on what BCH does, we could see BCHG going up or down with it. So I'm not completely convinced that it's time to break out just yet. I have been calling for BCH to break out, and I do think it's going to happen soon. I just don't know if it's going to happen yet. I would love to be wrong on that. I would love for this thing to just take off and go all the way up. If this is one of those cases where if I'm wrong, I'm making a decent bit of money, because BCH is one of my biggest holdings. If not, I think it is my biggest holding. It might be Compound right now. I don't know, but it's up there. It's in my top 2 for sure. And that, if it does move up, that could spell really good for BCHG and not so good for the bears. And again, stressing the importance as to why you should be invested at all times. Even if it's not 100%, you should have some exposure, because having no exposure is more risky than waiting to buy for a low. Is it a good time to buy here? I don't know. I think BCH is going to do pretty well, probably go above multiple, BCHG is going to go above multiple hundreds of dollars, probably like around 250 or higher. If we take this all-time high to the current all-time low, 250, 1500, anywhere in between there is on the table. This is less likely, in my opinion. The more likely is the 528 to 250 range, somewhere in there. And here we are at 390 now. So is it a good time to buy? You tell me. That's up to you to decide. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do think that we do go lower. I think there will be better opportunities to buy, but the chart isn't really giving us a whole lot. We are rejecting the 60 area here after finding support on it. We're back at that area now. We could completely go down. We're only up 7% this week. We have a whole week left to go, 4 days left. So let's see how it goes. Kind of a similar look as like Litecoin, right, where you're tipping the top points and then hugging these bottom points. I guess here you kind of tipped it, but hugged it. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see, but the daily RSI isn't really giving us a whole lot to go off of. It's not really bullish or bearish. You're not getting overbought or oversold. You are spending more time under the 50, but you're getting more readings closer to your overbought zone than you are to the oversold zone. So that's still pretty close. But anyways, I think this goes down. I think we will see the 123 being hit, which is all the way down at around $1.78, $1.75. I do think it goes down. Still forms a higher low. Very regular retracement. Move down there, find support at an area that we found support on before, found a little resistance on before at your 123, and then move up from there. It just makes sense to me. But we don't have to. Sometimes things don't make sense, man. We are definitely showing indecision candles. So I think it does depend a little bit on the underlying assets, but BCH can move up and BCHG can move up a little bit, or like less, right? We've seen days, I think, with LTC and LTCN where LTCN went down on a week that LTC went up, if I remember correctly. Or maybe I'm thinking of GTC and BTC. I don't know if we've seen that with BCH. I don't want to go over that right now, but I don't want to like compare it and go through all that. But it is possible for these things to move in opposite directions for a day or 2 or 3. You know, it can happen, and it has happened before. So they are pretty correlated, but they're not 100% correlated 100% of the time. So I do think BCH is in the midst of a breakout. I think it's maybe not in the midst of it now, but it's setting up for that, right? If it happens tomorrow, or like we're literally in the midst of it right now, okay, I'm happy to be wrong. But if it's what I think it is, which is just more tugging with our heartstrings, playing with us, after all, we're in an area that we could find resistance, we could pull back a little bit, and when we pull back, that could be the catalyst for BCHG to finally like give way on this higher low phase that you have here and move down to these areas. But we'll see. That's BCHG. Again, same thing with LTCN. It wouldn't take a whole lot for me to flip bullish. We're not that far away from it, but if you can close a day above 420, that's the highest daily close we have. A close above 420 on a daily, I will flip bullish. But until then, I remain bearish. And that's how you have to be, man. It can be emotional. It can be when you're seeing things go down and then it comes up, you have a 7% day after having a 6% day back to back. It can be emotional, but that's where you kind of got to be emotionless and just look at it for what it is. There's nothing on the daily RSI to give us anything. 3-hour RSI could reject from here. It's, you know, it rejected here on the bottom. It could reject on the top as well. Still not giving us anything. 1 hour, the 1 hour doesn't look bad, which could mean that, you know, tomorrow we open up, we go up a little bit. Just because we break 420 does not mean that, or sorry, break 420. Just because we go above 420 does not mean we've broken it. So if we see prices above 420, that doesn't matter. We want to see a day close above 420 before we really get excited, okay? So stay level-headed. be prepared to change your opinion. Be prepared to be disappointed, right? If you want to buy down here, if you want to buy down here, if you want to buy down here, and it doesn't happen and we close above here, be prepared to be disappointed, right? Also be prepared to be wonderfully surprised, or whatever is expected, whatever the opposite of surprised is. Because that, to me, is the likelihood still right now, but who knows? Who knows? That can change. That can definitely change. It wouldn't take much for that to change. So again, stressing on the importance of having some exposure no matter what. It's very, very wise to, at all times, if you have faith in a project that's going to do well for a long period of time, it's a very wise decision, in my opinion, to have money in that for a long period of time as well. Don't play the game with it. Do not play the game. Don't think, if I sell it here, I could buy it at half price and double my profits. Don't think that, okay? Because could is different than will, right? You will make money if you hold this right now. Whether it goes down or not, over time it will go up. You will, very likely, right? Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but that's my genuine opinion. You could make more money if you do it this way. Could also mean that you make jack, could mean that you make zero, could mean that you buy at higher prices. So don't play that could game, play that will game. And then if it could go lower, don't sell your coins, don't sell your stocks, just buy more, right? That's why they say buy the dip. They don't say sell the top, buy the dip. It's not a two-part series. It's just a buy the dip. Own it, hold it. If it dips, buy more, buy the dip. That's the whole thing. So before I continue with that, let's move on to ETHE and finish this bad boy up. Look at you go. Good job. Super bullish daily RSI. This one's giving us a little bit more. Yeah. Look at you. I don't remember if I was bullish or bearish on this in my last video talking about it. I want to say I was bullish on ETH. I don't know about ETHE though, but it would make sense to be bullish on both of them. Very, very good looking weekly RSI. You are at an area around 2880 here where it wouldn't be crazy to find resistance and turn around. But you wouldn't turn around by much, maybe $23, maybe $19.50, but still a higher low overall. You could go higher. You could go all the way up to your 886, even a little bit past that. You have areas of resistance a little bit past that, but even prices all the way up at 36, 35 wouldn't be crazy at all. Yeah. Volume's decent on your way up too. I don't mind it at all. Let's see, 3 hour. 3 hour looks really good. 1 hour looks really good. Yeah. Let's look at Ethereum. Because I do remember I was bullish on this in my last video. So good, man. So very good. Good job. Good job, all the ETH holders. Let's see, top to bottom here. Above your 1618 on the weekly, on the daily, you closed. Yeah, dude, you probably do go a little bit higher with Ethereum too. I mean, you could turn around here. It is possible, but I would think you would at least hit this 1886 or maybe up to your 2272, 3324 to 3630, somewhere in that range. You do have bearish divergence presenting itself. It's not confirmed. Until you have a red week, it's not confirmed. So let's see how this week plays out. Oh, I guess this is a daily actually. So until you have a red day, it's not. So let's see how today plays out. To see if this is bearish divergence. And if it is, maybe pull back to 2,900, 2,980, something like that. And then continue to move up higher. But I definitely think you want to go higher. Whether you move down a little bit or you move up a little bit, you've got more than just a little bit of growth to do. I think you've got plenty more. Yeah, looks good. Looks really, really good. That's Ethereum. That's ETHE. And it would make sense, you know, if Ethereum moves up a little bit higher, ETHE moves up a little bit higher, and then they both pull back, consolidate for a bit. Ethereum probably pulls back a little bit. Ethereum on the Grayscale Trust pulls back a little bit more, or through the Grayscale Trust. I say on, I don't know why, it's just like a habit, but through, it makes sense, but through the Grayscale Trust sounds better, I think. The Ethereum Grayscale Trust. Anyways, guys, looking good on ETHE itself. Very bullish RSI, dude. This is, it's nuts. That's so beautiful. You're probably going to come to an end of this consolidation, or this channel soon, okay? That was not a perfectly drawn line on either account, but especially on the top part. This RSI only goes so high, and likely you don't often get to that 100 level or even above the 90. In fact, this is the highest you've ever been on the weekly RSI. So going much higher Maybe you do, and maybe you go up to that 886, but eventually you'll come down, and at that point, I doubt you would go all the way up here. You know what I mean? So at some point, very soon, maybe it's in a month, maybe it's in 2 months, you'll break out of this, and you'll probably see ETHE do some longer phase of consolidation. And it wouldn't be crazy to see this thing before it really does that, to be up near its all-time highs before it like really consolidates for a bit and then gets ready to move up. And that's what I would expect this break of this channel on the RSI would mean. And I'm going to delete the lines, but you can see it, right? If we break that, likely we will see Ethereum, Grayscale Trust consolidate for a little bit. And that would probably mean Ethereum consolidates for a little bit too. But I don't know, just a thought, just a theory. It doesn't have to be like that, but that's generally what happens whenever you break a trend like that. For example, here you had a downtrend. You broke it technically here, right? But you didn't like start moving up. But let's see what you did when you broke it, which was here. You actually ended up moving a little bit lower, right? And then sideways and then up. But you broke it here. Let's see, where did you break it? Yeah, technically here, I would say, right? Right here. That's where you broke it. But you didn't break the price trend yet. This next move down was your last move down. Once you had the RSI broken and your price trend broken, that's when you really started to get away. So maybe we'll break the RSI. That'll be the early warning. And then once we break this kind of higher low structure, that might be the warning that we're going to see some kind of deeper consolidation or move down or something like that. But who knows? Who really knows how it looks? I'm talking about things that are probably months away, if not like a month and a half away. But for now, probably a little bit higher for ETHE, and then we can talk about some corrections, and then higher inevitably. I do think before you see that more significant consolidation phase, correction phase, you're going to see the 886 being hit, and then maybe around the time of the halving, which we're getting really close to. That's when we'll consolidate for a little bit, right? Just like this, you moved up dramatically, and then from December 2020 to March 2021, you were consolidating, and then you moved up higher. So something like that. That's kind of my thoughts, right? I don't think it's going to be dramatic like this. It could be, but I don't think it will be. But who knows? Again, too far out to really know. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming. Let me know in the comments, do you think I should do, and I know most of the time I do, but do you think I should do the underlying assets technical analysis along with the Grayscale Trust analysis every time I do it? Should I do a 2-for-1 for these? Because I think that makes sense. That's good to do, you know. And I do separate videos for them as well, but none of these today got requested, so I went a little bit more in depth than I normally would on these Grayscale Trusts, comparing them to the native tokens. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like button. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.